Welcome to the Friday Pastor's Devotional here at Huguenot Road Baptist Church. I'm Bob Lee, and thank you so much for spending a few moments of your day with me. Today is Friday, May the 30th, 2025, and our theme today here on our YouTube devotional focuses on the parable of the prodigal son, or probably better titled, the parable of the loving father. It's found in Luke's Gospel, chapter 15, verses 11 through 32. We've been in a series on this particular parable over the last several weeks, and we've been reflecting not only on the parable, but also on a book entitled The Return of the Prodigal Son by Henri Nouwen, one of my favorite authors. And Henri Nouwen's book, as you can see on the cover, is reflective on Rembrandt's painting with the same title, The Return of the Prodigal Son. Rembrandt painted that probably a few years before his death in I believe he died in the mid 1660s. And Henri Nouwen had the opportunity to see the painting in person. And in his reflection on this beautiful work of art, this masterpiece, he was moved so much so that it changed the course of his ministry, and it enabled him to write this book, which has touched thousands and thousands of people's lives, and mine included, and I hope yours too. This coming Sunday on June 1st will be the final sermon on the series. So as a brief word of recap, we've focused on a different character on each of the Sundays leading up to this Sunday. We focused on the younger son who asked for his share of the father's inheritance and ran away to a faraway country and squandered every bit of it, and came to his senses and came back home and repented and was hopeful that the father would at least let him be one of his servants. And then the next Sunday we focused on the older son in the story, who was out in the fields working when all of this was happening, when his younger brother came home. And when he learned that his father was throwing a celebration for his younger brother, he was indignant and bitter and resentful and would not attend the party. And he allowed his pride and resentment to get in the way. This coming Sunday on June 1st, we're focusing on the father in the story, what it means to be the father, how to become the father. Because often we think, well, I'm the younger son. Or we might think, I'm the older brother. But how often had we envisioned becoming like the Father? I believe that Jesus desires for us to take on the character of the Father in the story. And that's what we're going to talk about this Sunday in worship. As we go through the sermon this Sunday, we'll focus on three aspects or three marks of this loving father in the story: that of grief, that of forgiveness, and that of generosity. Grief, forgiveness, and generosity. He was grieved because of his younger son that he thought was dead and gone. He was also grieved because of the elder brother's resistance and reluctance to join into the celebration that his younger brother, who was in all aspects dead and was now alive, or who was lost is now found. The father grieved for those boys and their decisions. And then we're going to talk about how the father found it in his heart to forgive and desires that we enter into that same kind of forgiving spirit. And we're going to focus on the generosity of the Father, how the Father was willing to give it all. In fact, in verse 32, At the end of the parable, he tells the older son, "Everything I have is yours." The father in the story exemplifies generosity the entire time. He never wavers. And so it's a high calling for us to be in that way. But with the help of Jesus, by the grace of God, we can seek to live in that light, to imitate Jesus, to become like the Father in this story. I hope to see you soon in person or online as we worship together. Thanks for taking a few moments of your day to spend with me, and I hope that you'll read the passage one more time before Sunday worship. God bless. See you soon.